Hello everyone, this is part 4 of What If Naruto Was Neglected and Was a Genius with Swords, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Naruto wakes up in a deep and dank place known as the sewers in his mind. He made it to a large gate that holds a large set of eyes and teeth. Hello boy. Kyuubi, don't give me that bullshit. Your chakra, it made me kill him. I never planned on killing Sasuke. Shouted the black-coated ninja. Kyuubi laughed. I just gave you too much for you to handle. If you don't like it, then don't use my chakra. Damn you. I lost my best friend because of you. Why did you come to Konoha anyway? The beast took a while to think, then looks down on the kid. Akatsuki, an organization of powerful shinobi, who travel the world for the sole purpose of capturing Jinchuriki and Biju like me and you. I was informed that a man from Konoha works for them, and so I came to your precious village to kill him, and if those stupid humans, your father mostly, hadn't gotten in my way, then I would have found and destroyed him. Now leave me to my sleep. Naruto nods, then makes a door that can lead him out. Just one question, what is this man's name? The beast slumps back to his cage. There are two ninjas from Konoha that are with the Akatsuki, and one of them has the accursed Sharingan. The one I'm looking for was very interested in your Uchiha friend that you killed. And with that, he left, thinking about what he said, unaware that the beast was smirking. And once you reach the 9th state, I shall know freedom unknown for all these years. Naruto opens his eyes, to the bright lights of a hospital room. He found himself on a bed, like he always does when he wakes up from a hard fight, and the first thing he noticed after that, he saw the brown hair of his Chinese girlfriend on his chest. After holding his hand up and caressing her cheek, she began to open her eyes, and stare into the deep blue eyes of her most loved friend in the world. Naru-kun, I'm so glad you're okay. She squealed as she jumps up and kisses his lips with a passion that makes all the other ones look like practice. Upon releasing him, she began to cry. You're gonna die at the way you keep getting in trouble. Please you gotta be more careful. Ten-chan, I'm sorry for worrying you. I hate to see you grow tears on your beautiful face, he replied, as he stroked her chocolate hair. Tenten kissed his neck, leaving hickeys as she does. Naruto gasps as she does, and moves her off. What's going on? You only do that when you want something from me. What is it? Tenten smiled, and got up. She pulled him up, and gave him his clothes. Get dressed. My parents are gone for now. Wait, you don't mean, at your place? Sure, let's go, he says with a blushing look on his face. He grabs his clothes and gets dressed. After drawing his sword, he gets ready to head home, when the sexy Kunoiki kisses him and continues. He stops her for a minute. Hey, we can wait till we get home, savvy? She holds it off for now. Okay. Hey, where's Haku? I thought he would be here to see me. He probably got lost in here. He was a great ice shinobi, but had a terrible sense of direction. He will figure it out. Before Naruto woke up, Haku was looking for them when he stumbled upon a room. Naruto, who the fuck are you? He takes a better look at him, and figures that he stumbles upon the room of the sound girl that fought Shikamaru, Tayuya. What are you doing here? Don't worry you retard. I'm chained up. There are Anbu guards in the whole fucking place. She shows him the chains under her sheet. Haku then decided to come in, feeling something strange from this girl and having a strange urge in him that never seems to happen when he's with Tenten or any other girl. He seems to be holding flowers. So, you aren't planning to kill anyone at our village, right? Why would I? I have nothing else to live for. I'm just a fucking waste of time. I lost. No matter what they do to me, it won't be as bad as what will happen when Lord Orochimaru will do to me. He won't keep me alive once he sees me again. Haku sits next to her, and hands her a bouquet of flowers. Don't give up on life. If you have someone to live for, and protect, then dying will seem foolish to you. I learned that when I was with Zabuza-san, and after he died, I found a new purpose in life, protecting people around me, like Naruto and his lover-life Tenten, and others around this village. I can even protect someone who tries to kill me, just like Naruto does, like you. He holds a hand to her cheek, which she slaps away. She then feels a bit weird around this female-looking ice user. Hey you, come closer. spoke the pink-haired flute playing. Back with Naruto and Tenten, they were looking for Haku so they can leave, as Naruto thinks of something that makes sense. Ten-chan, you really think we should tell him that I'm leaving, and let him find out that we are gonna have fun? She smiles. Well, I just want to see him. He won't ruin our time. They look around for Haku, and hear a noise, that sounds like someone screaming. They make it to a room closed off. As Naruto opened the crack of the door, he sees something he wishes that he never gets to see. Ten-chan, I think Haku is having fun. She peeks in as well, and sees a girl lifting up and down on Haku, both completely gnarred. She seems to be the source of the screams. Oh Haku. Fuck me more. Oh Tayuya. I'm feeling something. The two ninjas watching decided to get out of there, closing the door quietly. They ran to their home as fast as possible, hoping to get that image out of their heads. Ten-chan, who would have guessed that him and her would be together? I mean, she's a freaking sound ninja. I thought he liked Sakura. Tenten held his hand and kissed his lips. As long as he can take care of himself, he'll be fine. She doesn't seem evil. And as they made it to the house, she slipped open the door, and they went in. After closing and locking it, she pushed him to the wall and began kissing him wildly. Naruto was pulled into the house by his pink-clothed girlfriend, mouths consuming each other as they recklessly made their way to the safety of their bed. As the weight of the world seemed to get lighter as they fall onto the silky soft mattress of her room, Tenten gripped his shirt collar and started a tongue wrestling contest with him. He obliged and they continued for about 2 minutes. After grasping for the supplement of air, the duo gazed at each other, innocence lost. Naruto, if you want to stop up to here, then I won't force it on you, spoke the Bushi master. He replied with a kiss. Of course I want this, I wouldn't want it with anyone else. He took off the blackness that covered his body, and slipped his sandals off, as all that was left was his underwear. She began getting rid of her clothes and put her hands on her buns. She proceeded to removing the bands that held them up, letting her hair down on this occasion. Wow, you truly look beautiful like that, spoke the starstruck Naruto, almost paying more attention to her hair than her body. Tenten smiled, and continued to remove her clothes, exposing her 2 C-cup-sized breasts and her seemingly already wet womanhood that yearned for him. She kissed him as he stared and rubbed her hands on his already tense chest. It's not that great, unlike these abs. Oh god, they're awesome. She went on to kissing his chest, then pushed him onto his back, licking him and trailing down all the way to his underwear. With the grace of a butterfly in a cloudy spring morning, she slips off his boxes and gets rewarded with an already thick member slapping her in the face, which brought an expression on her face you couldn't buy with a million zenny. Naruto, you're just the size I dreamed of, said Tenten, which made Naruto feel a bit offended. It's not that big, but that's anyway. She laughed at him and then began licking and inhaling his manhood until you couldn't see any part of it but the hair. Naruto gasped and groaned with pleasure, staring at the ceiling and placing one hand on top of the brown bush of hair that was devouring him. She then stopped before he could start moaning louder. What? Something wrong? Oh nothing, it's just your turn. She smiled and turned around, shoving her pink ass in his face, almost literally. He gains that smirk of his and commences with licking and kissing her goods. She twists and turns from the feel of having him in her. Ah, Naru-kun, you always know how to make me feel ah. She grips her hands onto the sides of the bed, squeezing them until they decided to give in and break. She makes one last scream and unloads all over his face. The fox Chunin placed a hand onto his face, and wiped some off, inserting some into his mouth and humming sweet nothings. I didn't know girl juice was so good. She turns around and kisses him, getting in a share of the liquid she just splattered all over his face. He grabbed her left breast and massaged it, making her shudder and moan in his mouth. For about 1 minute they continued, till she moved off of him, and laid on her back. Naruto, it's time. I want you on me for our first, she whispered, inviting him in with spreading doors that we all refer to as legs. He crawls over to her, unsure of if he should. She sees the worry in his eye and smiles. Don't worry, I'm protected. Birth control pills before you woke up. Oh that's good, but hey wait. Did you plan this? Baffled the confused nude ninja. She chuckled, then played with her clit a bit, trying to get him even more ecstatic about going in. Like the man he is, he plops on top of her, and presses into her. As soon as it began to push in her, she gripped his shoulders in pain. Tenten, don't worry. It's supposed to do this if this is your first time. It's obviously mine too. He comforted her, as he pushed deeper in and out, making her start to cry tears. Her cries of pain morphed a while after, into moans of lust, and joy. She never felt so good in her life, not since they first proclaimed their love for one another. Her face altered into a smile that oozed saliva. She then grabbed firm hold of him, smashing her attributes against his fleshy set of steel. This increased the moaning of both of them, as he pushed in and out continuously. Oh, Naru-kun, I love you. Ten-chan, I love you too. The two lovers then kissed each other, with both passion and tongues. After 2 minutes of this, he removed his mouth, a trail of saliva connecting each of their mouths. Ten-chan, I feel I'm gonna go on baby. Do it inside me And with one last shout, he did it, releasing love inside her like an overburst in adrenaline. He removed himself from her, another trail of liquid connecting them together. They were a few inches away from each other, letting both trails fall on the only one of them that was on her back. She panted, staring into the face of her one and only true lover. Naru-kun, that was amazing. I feel like I'm gonna faint, and she does, leaving him to join her, his face just on hers. After a few minutes she woke up, and stared into his eyes, licking him to raise his eyes. As she did, his blue pearls showed themselves to her. He gazed into the chocolate eyes of her face, and smiled. Well, you woke up. You truly do look beautiful without those buns. She laughs at the comment, and kisses him. And they stayed like this, falling asleep in each other's arms, not having a care in the world. Back in the hospital, Haku and Tayuya were just finishing up, and fully clothed. Haku smiled at his sound queen. That was awesome. Who knew Shay could feel so good? Tayuya was still chained up, mad that she couldn't see her girly prince from afar. Well, it always was a beautiful way to connect with someone you love. How about you come see me after the interrogation? Haku goes towards her and plants a kiss. It's a date, hopefully. Inside her office, the Godime struggles through paperwork, and comes across a report back to before Sasuke left the village. It tells about two strange figures dressed in black and red spotted kimonos, wearing straffats. One was wearing a blue furry sword, and the other had a red ring on his finger. Red ring. Furry sword. Oh no. It's them. She then thinks about why they would come here, then it hit her, their organization is after the demons, and the only human in Konoha who has a demon in him, is Naruto. Then memories of two men she used to know blurred in her mind, each one of them getting a necklace similar to what Naruto has. Then the memory of her giving him the necklace came to mind, and she then had a determined, but sad look on her face. Anbu, get in here. The Black Ops came to the office to see a more serious, if at all, Godime waiting for them. Good of you to come. We got reports of a couple of people coming into our village, then leaving. And the description matches that of Uchiha Itachi and one of the 7 samurais of the mist, Kisame. I want one half to search the village for any signs of them, and the other half look for Jiraiya. You on the other hand will bring Naruto here ASAP. And with that, they dispersed. Back with Naruto, he and Tenten were finally clothed and about to leave for food. As they held hands towards the Ichiraka ramen shop, a black op in a chimp mask came before them. Naruto, you were requested to see the Hokage. Naruto lifted his eyebrow, and shrugged, wondering what Bar-chan wanted with him now, when someone gripped his arm. Naruto, I'm coming too. And with that, the three left, heading into the office of the 5th Hokage. Beside her was Jiraiya. She didn't seem too well though. Naruto, glad you could make it. Reports have came in about 2 men. And what does that have to do with me? Said the confused and still sweaty ninja. Tsunade averted her eyes elsewhere, to hide her fear. I fear that it's Kisame and Sasuke's brother, Itachi. This shocked both Naruto and Tenten. Sasuke's brother. The man who drove him into insanity. That can't be. Why did he come back? And why does he have anything to do with Naru-kun? She turns her eyes back to them. You know about the Kyuubi, right? It is the strongest of the tailed demons, the strongest Biju of them all. Well, his brother is part of the mysterious organization known as Akatsuki. They travel the world hunting down Jinryuki just like you, Naruto. And I'm afraid that if they capture you, I don't even want to think about it. She turns away again, and Naruto feels worried, but not even half as worried as Tenten, who just began to hold him close. What do you mean? Is he gonna die? Yes. And at your state of power we wouldn't be able to take care of you while you stay here, so I shall ask Jiraiya to train you elsewhere outside of this village, for 3 years at most. This came as a strike to both Naruto and Tenten, as they just heard her flat out sire he has to leave his village. Tenten grips him tighter, knowing of what might happen, and Naruto takes a step toward the Gondime, who could be heard crying. It was 6 p.m., and Naruto was busy getting his stuff ready for him to leave. He packed pretty much the essentials: Kuroget sugar, his favorite black suit, a pair of spare clothes, some kunai and shuriken, ramen cups, his newest issue of Shonen Jump, and a picture he took of him, Tenten, and Haku. After that, it was all a matter of waiting for tomorrow. As he placed his stuff somewhere he will find it, he heads out to kill some time, and gets stopped by his brown-haired girlfriend. Ten-chan, are you mad at me? He asked, nervously and hoping not to get hit. She stared at him, not saying a word. Look, I have to leave. And when I come back, I shall become even stronger than before. He still didn't get an answer from her. I wish you would talk to me, I hate seeing you like this. Why? Why does God hate me? She finally spoke up, surprising him a bit. She walks to him. Why does it seem that whenever I finally get something I want, and love it, it always gets taken away from me? Why do you have to go? She seems to be in tears due to this. But a finger wiped one tear from her left eye away, and she seemed to stop crying. Tenten, in my life, I have always been smitten by the villages. I lost my humanity, my life, my soul, all to darkness because they yelled at me, scolded me, hit me, and just as soon would step on my face as look at me. I would have stayed in darkness and wanted to lay waste to those bastards, until that day. You came into the forest, and became the first person to treat me like a human. You never tried to actually hurt me, nor did you even bother try make me feel like dirt. You gave me something I can never make up for even with my own self, the feeling of happiness. She began crying again, but they were tears of joy this time, and he placed one hand on his neck, and kissed him. He turned his face into a smile in coherence to hers. Naru-kun, I'll always love you. And I shall love you always as well. Nothing will ever change that, even if you were to leave me during my leave. I will never leave you. She interrupted, hugging him tightly. She removed herself for a second kiss. Their time together was interrupted by a grunting sound down the hall. They looked over to see Haku. She may not be very strong, but Tenten is something that you will never find in any other woman, loyal and true to her word, spoke the ice user. Naruto let go of her to get to him. So, you know, I really did want to tell you this before I save it. I understand. You are after all a Jinchuriki, but know this, you are never alone in this world. The trio walked through town, enjoying their last moments together and eating at Ichiraka's. The store manager was a bit bummed out to see Naruto leaving, or rather his wallet. As they ate, they began thinking about what life would be like without Naruto. Well, if it weren't for you, I probably would have died. Without Zabuza I had nothing else to live for. It was something I hated to think of so much it killed me. Haku spoke. Naruto was still busy slurping. So Tenten, where would you be if you never met him at the forest? Without you Naruto, I would have probably stayed crushing on Neji. In fact I wouldn't have experienced the loving enjoyment I had this morning. She fantasizes about the sexual intercourse that took place earlier this morning. Wait, you guys finally did it. Spoke Tay surprised Haku. She nodded her head and holds her blushing cheeks. Yes, it's true. But I guess you had your experience with your friend the Sound Ninja. At that remark Haku literally spat up his food, and onto Tenten. She got seriously pissed off, and his face ended up in the dirt, flatter than the shape of the earth. A couple of minutes later he came to, blood leaking from his nose. How did you know about me and Tayuya? Haku said. We saw you in the hospital on top of her, pumpin' and a sweatin'. Haku began blushing at this, hiding his face under his locks of hair. Tenten burst out laughing at his reaction. Don't worry, we left as soon as we knew it was you, although I must say, you do have a cute butt, she joked, forcing him to hide even deeper in his hair. Naruto rose his head, mouth stuffed with wet grains of flavored strings. Can you guys stop it? I'm trying to eat here. He muffled. After eating out, they stopped by the school grounds, and saw a swing. I used to swing on this every day, and most times when I get in trouble. Everyone used to look at me, and tell me things like, there goes that boy, Or is he the demon disgrace of the village? Tenten slaps him upside his head's backside. Ow. What the hell? She had a serious look on her now. Naruto, no one has the right to hate you. You have done so much for this village, and some others. Even if the whole world were to despise you, at least remember that we love you. Me, Haku, your senseis, your other friends, even Tsunade and the Ero-sanin, spoke softly by Tenten. He gave her a kiss as a thank you, and returned home. Back home, they went into their separate rooms. Haku disperses into his own room, and Naruto goes in his, but is pulled out almost immediately by Tenten, and dragged into her room. Whoa, Ten-chan, we can't now. Your parents are back home, aren't they? Pleaded the Uzumaki. She smacked him upside his head. No, we aren't doing that. I just want you by my side, so I'll know that you'll be there when I wake up. And so they did. Neither of them seemed freaked out to see the other undress. In fact, it was like they've done it for centuries. As they laid themselves into each other's arms to sleep, a kiss sealed the deal. Elsewhere in Otogakure, a pale man was reviewing what had happened to his Uchiha prodige. I see, so that boy did kill him. He has become this powerful in only a short amount of time. He might even be strong enough to kill me permanently if he gains his 4th level. I will see to it that he doesn't. The next morning in Konoha, the light dawned on two sleeping lovers, as they opened their eyes to each other. Hey there my sweet Kenjutsu princess, spoke the fox Chunin. His bushy partner kissed his nose. Good morning to you too, my knight in shining armor. After getting dressed, in a weird-looking orange and blue lining jumpsuit, Naruto was well on his way to the gates of Konoha, with his two friends Haku, who wore the exact same thing he wore the day he fought Naruto, and Tenten, who wore her pink Chinese shirt and blue pants with her hair unbundled for once. As they made their way to the gate, they spotted the old pervert waiting for him. Hey, brat, you made it. Let's go, we can make it to our next destination in about a week. A week. All that sucks, groaned Naruto. As the gates opened, Naruto strapped up his stuff, and began to exit, but a pair of arms grabbed him, and turned him around. None other than his beautiful girlfriend would do this at a time like now. Ten-chan, I can't stay any longer. You know that, he began, but she hushed him with a hug. Her head was resting on his neck as she began to break down and get sad again. I know you have to leave, but I just wish for one thing, Naruto, when you return, and see me again, promise me you will become my husband. Jiraiya, Haku, and the boy himself were frozen by this sudden request. Naruto smiled and lifted her up to face her. Of course. And after a kiss that lit in his soul, the two travelers began their leave, heading to who knows where. Tenten fell to her knees, and began to cry again. Haku descended to comfort her. Tenten, that was a large request. And you seem to be crying over it. Why? I'm just a bit overjoyed to hear him say yes, and to me. She got herself up, and the two walked back home, to think of what to do next with their lives. In the distance a green shirt-wearing woman with blonde hair was watching them make their promise. She wipes her eyes, and stares at the Yondai monument. He's grown up to be just like you, my son. I hope he comes back, for me and her. It's been a week since Naruto left the village. The townsfolk did not let this go unnoticed, and went to the Gondime for a reason why he wasn't around. And every time she gave them the same answer, I don't know where he is, honestly. The people took this as a sign that someone either kidnapped or killed the demon brat, and their village is finally safe. They all broke out in joy and began a party. Since Tsunade didn't request against it, they went on with it. The day of the party everyone in the village ate, drank, danced and were merry. All except for the ones who were truly Naruto's friends, such as Sakura, Ino, Shino, Shikamaru, Hinata, Neji, Kiba, Chuji, Lee, Haku, the Hokage herself, Shizune, and Tenten. In fact, the only ones who knew what really happened to him are Haku, his girlfriend, Gondime, and her assistant. Said Gondime was watching the village from her office, drinking herself from depression with bottle after bottle of sake. She seems to be crying over something as well, for tears are clearly visible on his face. She sits in her desk, and looks over some papers that need to be filed. Just then a knock on the door is heard, as her assistant comes in. Tsunade-sama, 2 Junin are here to speak to you. At that time, 2 Junin came in, Mitarashi Anko, and Hayate Kakashi. You here because of Naruto? Spoke the Gondime. Kakashi stepped forward, Hokage-sama, I wish to understand why you let Naruto leave the village, and didn't let anyone know. Her tears seem to have returned to her. I let him go, because Akatsuki is after him. She plops her head onto the desk. Anko then pulls him back. Hokage-sama, we know about the demon collecting shinobi, but what we need to know is why you send him away when he could be assigned body. She holds up a hand to stop her from talking anymore. As a Hokage, it is my duty to make the safety of this village my top concern. But as a grandmother, his safety is something I can never compromise. She smacks her head on the table, crying bullets of tears. Kakashi's eye grew large, as Anko just tilted her head. Naruto is your grandson. I knew he was Arashi's child, but then that would make you Arashi's mother. That's right, yelled Tsunade, who got herself up. She then threw the bottle of sake towards the wall, shattering the thing into pieces. Kakashi wants to try and comfort her, if it weren't for the bloodlust emitting from her that spoke to lash out at anything near her. Hokage-sama, how long have you known about your relation to Naruto and Arashi? I've known about Arashi as my son for years, ever since I left the village. I learned of it after he became a Junin and Rin told me. Naruto was only recently. It was a week ago, when the team came back from their mission. Flashback. Tsunade made her way into the hospital, after hearing that the team has returned. She burst through the doors, and made her way to her assistant Shizune. What's the situation? Shizune pulled out a clipboard. Hyuga Neji has 2 holes in him. We have a team on him now. Akamai Kichuji is suffering from the effects of his pills, and we have a team on him as well. Inuzuka Kiba has 2 bloody gashes on his abdomen, and Nara Shikamaru has a broken finger. They seem to be the best off, so our last team has them. Haku has head trauma and a deep cut in his ribcage. It looks to have been pierced by ivory or bone since I depit cellular structure from the wound outside of his own. The girl they brought back with them has multiple scars all over her body, but she seems fine now. As for Naruto, he has chakra depletion, and a hole above his heart. It looks to has missed on purpose, and the surrounding flesh seems to have burned. All attempts to stop bleeding have failed. Your orders. I shall handle Haku. You get the rest of the teams and yourself on Naruto. Let's go, people. And with that, they went to work. Tsunade began healing Haku, and for the first few seconds it seemed futile, but then he started to show signs of life. There we go. Tsunade-sama. We have a problem. Shizune rushed in her room, speaking to her loudly. The Gondime ran over to Naruto's room. He was very pale in the face, and the hole was gone. What's wrong? He seems to have lost too much blood, and we can't give him any more. He seems to have used too much of the Kyuubi's chakra and it keeps preventing us from giving him more blood. It seems that it'll only take DNA similar to its own. Shizune spoke with fear. Tsunade wouldn't give up though. Look up any family members he might have, and get them here now. She then began running out the door, when Shizune grabbed her hand. It's pointless. I've looked at his records, and he doesn't have any known relatives. The only known relative of him is Kazama Arashi, and we both know he died sealing the Kyuubi in him. The Hokage froze completely in her tracks. She slowly turned her head towards Naruto, then to Shizune. Naruto is Arashi's kid. Are you sure? She yelled, gripping her assistant's shoulder, shaking her violently. Yes. I found out from asking Jiraiya, and he told me the truth about how Arashi gave his son a heavy burden. I thought he told you, so I never brought it up. I'm sorry, she pleaded. Tsunade turned towards Naruto. Prepare the blood transfer. I'll be the participant. But only someone from his family can give him blood. The only way for you to do it. She stopped, realizing why she wants to do this. Okay, I'll start the preparations. After the blood transfer, Naruto's face started to show some life. Tsunade watched at his side as she stroked his hair, moving it out of his face. Shizune approached her. Tsunade-sama, you are Arashi's mother, aren't you? Why didn't you tell me? Tsunade seems to start crying. I'm sorry, Shizune. I didn't know until I left Konoha, and even then I never told him. I left the village with you, and hoped to never come back. So that day you found out of the Kyuubi being sealed. You were crying over his death. Tsunade nodded. Just then, the door opened, to reveal a teenage girl. She had a pink shirt on as well as blue pants. Her brown hair was tied in 2 buns, and her chocolate eyes were seriously worried and surprised to see Tsunade next to Naruto. The Gondime wipes her tears away. Oh hello, and you are. Hokage-sama, my name is Tenten. I'm looking for a very dear person to me. His name is. She looks to the kid on the bed, and sees that it's the love of her life. Naru-kun. She quickly rushed to his side, embracing his head in her chest. Tsunade seemed surprised to see this, but happy that her grandson found someone who loved him so much even at an early age. End flashback. Tsunade plopped her head on the table, crying again. Kakashi, seemingly surprised to hear the story, decided to leave, and let her cry some more. Anko was about to leave, but Tsunade stops her. Hold it, Anko. I was just about to call you here. I need you to take that sound ninja to Yukigakure, and look for something she mentioned. A book that reveals the hideouts of Orochimaru in each and every one of the villages. Also take Haku and Tenten. I feel they need to have their hands full so they don't get bored and go after Naruto. Tsunade spoke as she handed her the files for the mission. And after she took it, the sexy snake ninja left. Back with Haku, he and Tenten were roaming the streets, looking for the Ichiraka shop. Haku seemed to have something on his mind, and at the same time, trying to cheer Tenten up and keep her hopes up that she will see Naruto again. That's when Sakura came before them. Sakura, enjoying the festival, spoke Haku with a smile. She shifted her eyes to Tenten. Tenten, Naruto left the village, didn't he? I know he didn't get killed, or you wouldn't be outside, or even alive to bear it. Do you know where he is? Tenten didn't look at her, just stared away. He left with Jiraiya to train outside the village, and so this one doesn't get invaded. Sakura attempts to place a hand onto her for comfort, but a gust of wind blows in, revealing Anko and Tayuya. The three look at him, Tenten remembering the girl, and Haku blushing at the sight of her. There you two are. Tenten, Haku, you two and us have to travel to Yukigakure with me to search for a book. It should tell us where to find Orochimaru's hideout and other stuff. The two seemed a bit down to hear nothing in the sort about being able to see Naruto, but agree anyway and head towards the gate. Sakura watches from behind as they leave, and head for Tsunade's office. There she finds her resting her head. Hokage-sama, I wish to speak to you. Tsunade looks up to her. You are. Sakura, right. What is it? Sakura steps towards her. Hokage-sama, I wish to receive training in medical fields and be your apprentice, if you'll have me. The four ninja made their way to the village of Yukigakure. It was a winter wonderland, the temperature was lower than in any village you can think of, and Haku could feel himself at home. He smiles as they enter. What's wrong, Haku-chan? You seem overjoyed to see this place. It makes you so cute. Squealed Tayuya as she gropes his arm. Anko sees this and goes closer to them. Do you really love that kid? Tayuya turns her head over to her. Get the hell away from me. I'm enjoying my time with Haku-chan. Oh, and the thing we are looking for are in the outskirts of town. Let's go. And with that, she drags the kid and lets them follow to the end of town. Tenten seems to be distracted by something. Anko notices this and falls behind to speak to her. You miss him, don't you? Tenten looks up. Huh, you say something. Anko shakes her head in disapproval. I haven't known the boy for as long as you have, but I did know his father, and I want to make one thing clear. Love him for what he is, not just for what he does for you. He won't break your heart. I could tell from the exams that he's a nice boy who would never want to kill someone intentionally. Even when he spot me behind him, so just wait for him, and he'll come. Tenten could feel herself rise with gladness in her heart. She places a hand onto her shoulder. Thank you, Anko-senpai. Now let's find this thing. They made their way through town, and finds a large boulder made of ice. I found it. I just hope they can let me live in their village after this. I hope that old bitch can let me stay, thought the sound ninja. She played her flute, making a melodious tune that could make anyone melt in their soul. Just then the boulder melted, revealing a hole in the ground, with stairs at the top of it. Tayuya leads the way to downwards hell. Haku follows close behind and Anko and Tenten pull out kunai to get ready. As Tayu walks down, she tries to sense for anyone, and finds something. There's something in here. Be on your guard. Everyone holds out a kunai and rush in. At the end they hide to the sides. Anko looks around inside the dungeon, but sees no one. The place was brownish, the only speck of light was candles at the far ends of the huge room. In the middle of the room was a pile of bodies, each one bloodier than the last. Haku flashes to the bodies, checking them. These are still warm. Whoever did this couldn't have gone too far. Tayuya comes out from the safety of the Jonan's range and walks to Haku. Correction, I never left. The group turned their heads to the candles. Holding it was a middle-aged man. The guy before them was wearing a black-looking yukata outfit. Over it was a white garb-like vest. His eyes were slitted, not open to look at the humans before him. His hair is unusually silver, being hung down in a ponytail. He had an evil-looking grin on his face, one that could make you feel unsafe and scared. Taiyu took one look at the man, and backed up, shivering and shuddering in fear even she could not comprehend. No, it's him. Kanda Rekimaru. Why are you here? She whelped. She began to run away, but the minute she was facing behind her, his evil mug was right in front of hers. I'm disappointed in you, Taiuya-san. Die. With one fell swoop he drew a wakizashi, and began to lift it over her head. He then brings it down slowly, or that's what it seems to her. She tries her hardest to move, but fear seems to have paralyzed her from even breathing. Her eyes begin to close as she awaits death, but the moment they were about to, Haku came up and saved her. All Rekimaru hit was dirt. Well, you seem to be fast. Could you be the one who has the Hyoten? Rekimaru's smile seems to have grown even bigger. Haku's face of serenity went away as he looked up at Rekimaru. He looks down at Taiuya. Taiyu-chan, are you okay? She snaps out of her paralysis, and holds a hand to his cheek. Haku, we have to run. Rekimaru is a close and powerful friend of Orochimaru. He doesn't have a curse seal, but he does possess more chakra than he can ever hope to. Please run. Forget the book. Rekimaru holds up a book. Is this it? The one for all of Orochi-sama's hideouts and stuff. You can have it, when you beat me. He drops it onto the floor. Tenten sees this as an opportunity to strike him. She pulls out 2 scrolls. Soshoryu. Her 2 scrolls turn into smoke, as they rise up into the form of 2 Chinese dragons. They each surround Tenten as she jumps into the air. She places her hands onto the scrolls, uploading weapon after weapon, and throwing them at Rekimaru at amazing speed. A nice trick for someone from Konoha. I should be very afraid. He does some one-handed seals, and ends with a tiger. Futon. Chikiri no Jutsu. He points his sword towards the incoming weapons, and they just get blown away by the wind from the strokes off his blade. They all fly towards Tenten, who gets mutilated. But what gets stabbed is a shadow clone she learned from Naruto. She, Haku, and Anko come up from behind the man, each with a kunai pointing onto his neck, heart, and stomach. They each stab in, but only stab a dead body. Anko gasps at what he did. He did substitution without us knowing. You're right again. He comes up from behind her and kicks her face. She falls to the end of the room. He then shifts around and kisses Haku, then grabs Tenten by her neck. He proceeds to choke her to death, but feels a bit cold. He shifts his face to Haku. Hyoten, Shinkuasuhyaran no Jutsu. A ring of red ice form around Rekimaru. He then drops Tenten, allowing her to jump out of the way. All of a sudden crystal lotuses rise from the rings and crash into Rekimaru. He looks to be at the ceiling encased in hard red ice, his head and left hand free. His smile is still on his face. Haku then does some more hand seals. Haijutsu, Sensatsu Susho. Some of the icicles form into needles and float into the air, pointing towards the trapped Rekimaru. It's over, Rekimaru. Die. The needles of death attack him. As they approach, he looks at Haku, opening his blood-red eyes for the first time. Haijutsu, Shinsu. The earth above them seem to release spears of white metal as they destroy the needles and ice holder he's in, and pierce Haku's leg, chest and arm. He falls to the ground, coughing up blood as he hits the ground. He looks at the ground, trying to move as he shifts his eyes onto him. My favorite jutsu. It creates spears that shoot down from heaven. All I need to do is channel chakra into my entire body, and speak the words, and you run. Would you like to have more fun? He looks at Haku, pointing his blade at him. He then walks towards him, then releases another chakiri at Anko who was running towards him. She falls to the ground, releasing blood from her mouth. Tenten begins to pick herself up, but knows that if she even tries to move, he will try and kill her. But she knew Haku was gonna die if she didn't and just throws a windmill shuriken, and does the shadow shuriken jutsu to release 2 onto him. He looms his eyes onto them. With one stroke of his blade, he blocks both shurikens with his sword. Tenten gasps in horror, then feels blood coming out from her mouth. That man, he cut me without being near me. I don't think I can see Naruto again. No. Rekimaru smiles again, not noticing Haku doing some one-handed hand signs. Makyo Hyu show. His most powerful jutsu gets to work, as crystal mirrors appear around both him and Rekimaru. Haku rise up, and enter in the mirrors, as they all appear into the others, holding 3 senbon. But at a loss of energy he couldn't keep this up. Rekimaru smiles at Haku. You don't have enough chakra to do this, and you can't catch me with the speed at the disability of 2 limbs. Once they go away, I will kill you. Haku spat up blood. He knew he was right. That's why he did this jutsu. He then disappeared from all the mirrors, as they close in on Rekimaru, and trap him in one giant mirror. What is this technique? For once he lost his smile, and had his eyes fully open. Haku did some hand seals with one hand, and all of a sudden, the mirror began to crack. Haijutsu, Hyo Sho Daibakura. The mirror explodes into a million pieces, leaving nothing but broken glass of ice and blood onto the floor. Haku then fell onto his knees, and began to lose vision, as he smiled to the others. Victory, was all he could say before fainting, plopping onto the floor like it was some sort of rugged bed. XXX. Tenten was walking down the frozen streets of town, contemplating about her fiancé. Naruto, I won't disappoint you. I'll become as strong as you. And with that, she runs through town. The 4 shinobi made it back to Konoha, after retrieving a very important document. Anko and the others reported to the Hokage's office, and gave the results of the mission. Good work. Now we can find him. Here's your earnings for the mission. Tsunade said as she handed her a small pouch of money. Anko took it gracefully, and left muttering something about Dango. Tenten, Haku and Tayuya were about to go, when someone said, Tayuya, I wish for you to stay. And so she did, as Tenten left and Haku waited in the hallway. Tsunade holds her hands in a pyramid. Do you wish to become a Konoha citizen and leave behind your past with Orochimaru? Tayuya nods. Of course. After spending much time WTIH Haku, I realized how much I love that girly bitch. And I would do anything for that man, and his friends. Tsunade tosses her a leaf headband. From here on out, I accept you as a Konoha Chunin. In fact, thanks to this mission I feel Haku and Tenten have risen to Chunin rank as well. That will be all. And with that Tayuya left, and approached Haku with a hug and kiss. Back in her office the youthful-looking Hokage was staring at a picture of her and someone who looked like Naruto, only without the whiskers on his face. She stared at him, and felt like she was about to cry, but held it in. I need to tell him. I will tell him, when he comes back. She placed the picture on the mantle, and fell asleep. 3 years later, 2 figures were approaching the front entrance of Konoha. One had long white hair and some sort of doshi on. The second one had a black veil with black clothes on so you couldn't tell who he was. But if you looked close enough you could pick out the whiteness of what seems to be a mask. 3 years have passed since the mission in Yukigakure. The village of Leaves seems to be at peace now, although in actuality in preparations for war in case. At the front gate of Konoha, 2 figures come into the village. 2 Chunin came along and halted them. Hey, you have a reason for being here. One of the visitors stepped forward. He was an old man with long white hair. Hey there. Don't worry guys, it's me. The Frog Sannin have returned from a 3-year mission with my apprentice. He's over there. The 2 Chunin look at the man next to him. He was wearing a long black shirt that resembled a cape. The inside was red and he had big pants that made you think his legs were stuffed with something. His face was covered by a black hood, and if you looked closer in, you could see a white mask with 3 red scar-like marks on the left side of the forehead. Around his neck was a blue and green jewel that seems to be familiar. He lifted his head. Hello. I am known as the disgrace of the hidden leaf. The Chunin figured out who it was after hearing that. Oh yeah. Lady Tsunade asked for you. Please head for her office. The Chunin left them go by, as Jiraiya and the other walked towards her office. On the way there the mysterious man jumped up onto a pole, and looked at the view. This place is awesome. I missed you Konoha. That's when he noticed Tsunade's face on the Hokage monument. So they put her old ass face onto it huh. I can't wait to see Tenten. He jumps down. Jiraiya shakes his head. Stop stalling. We need to see her. Not yet. First I need to get something to eat, said the masked man. He walked over to Ichiraka's ramen shop. As he sat down he saw Chuki and Ayami, his daughter. Hey there. I'll have 6 bowls, 3 of miso, 3 of beef, and a plate of tempura chicken. The manager obliged. As he received his food and ate, he removed his veil, to reveal the mask hidden under. It seems to have, in addition to the stuff you could see before, teeth. There were eye holes where they were supposed to be. His hair behind it was blonde and long. It hung over his face, and at the end of it had a ponytail. He grabbed the mouth part of the mask, and lifted the 2 rows of teeth up, to reveal his mouth. As he ate through it, someone came by. The man looked his head over to who it was. She was a girl, 17 she looked. Her outfit was a white Chinese shirt with red lines from her bottom right breast to her top left breast. She had on a black saoshi, and sandals that showed the pinkest legs and feet you could ever see. But what got his attention the most was the brown hair she had, which was tied into 2 buns, and the brown chocolate eyes she had, which can get you lost in them. He knew automatically who it was and stopped eating. "Excuse me, I'll have the miso," she ordered. The owner smiled. "You eating his favorite in remembrance of him again?" The girl smiled. "It's true. I can't wait until he comes back. I just want to hold my love again. I haven't had such a feeling of happiness ever since he left." She looked down at her feet, then turned her direction to the other person. She was quick to notice he had a mask on, but even quicker to notice the blonde hair. She continued eating. The 2 finished at the same time. The man closed his jaw mask, paid, and looked at the girl. He got up and stood behind her as she rose and paid. She saw the man in front of her. "Ah, who the hell are you? If you want to fight, then not here. I don't have time for perverts like you." The man shook his head, and spoke, "It has been 3 years, and I still love you, savvy." She gasped at that, and even more when he opened his mouth mask and kissed her. She couldn't react in time to remove or beat him up, and during the kiss she didn't stop him. She just froze, and looked at him. That kiss. Only one person has that taste in their mouth, or kisses me in that way. That's when she figured it out. Naru-kun. Is that really you? She spoke, tears starting to form. That's when the man chuckled. He then rose his hand up, which was now in a fist. And in one quick strike, he punched the mask, breaking it into pieces. The pieces fell to the floor, revealing the face of a god, that had the hint of a demon. He had whiskers on his face, 3 on each of his cheeks, and That's when she noticed that his eyes were red, no longer the clear blue eyes that she fell in love with, they were replaced by evil eyes of a demon who killed for fun. Although they had the hint of destruction in them, hidden within was caring compassion and undying love for the person she looked at. "Naru-kun, oh my god. Why did you wear that mask?" She spoke softly. Naruto could feel his face turn into grief, then back to love. "I didn't want to draw attention to myself. Besides, the first person here that I wanted to see my new face was you, my fiancé." Tenten blushed greatly, and jumped up to kiss him. Her tongue pressed into his teeth, asking for entrance into his mouth. He opens, and they duel tongues. She grabs onto his hair, and thrusts in, giving more passion into the kiss. After pulling away for air, she stared into his lovely eyes. "Naruto, I love you. Thank you, for coming back to me," she whispered. "Tenten, I will never break a promise to you. I shall always love you. No matter what happens to you, I will always be there for you," he whispered back. Jiraiya patted his back, which surprised both of them. "Oh, isn't that sweet? But don't forget about Tsunade." He smacks his forehead, and grabs hold of Tenten, and runs to the office, in a flurry of flashes. Jiraiya sighs. He forgot I can teleport. And he does. At the office, Naruto makes his way in, and spots Shizune sitting by. Shizune Nichan. She looked up, and saw someone holding Tenten's hand. She automatically knew who it was. Naruto. She gets up and leaves, confusing both Tenten and Naruto. They shrugged, and went in. The couple see Jiraiya and the Hokage waiting for them. Tsunade looked at him, as Naruto smiled. "I see Jiraiya over here was right. You became a better ninja, right? No worries, Oba-chan." Oops. He covers his mouth, realizing he just cracked on her age. She just got up and walked towards him, seeming calm. But Naruto wasn't gonna fall for it. "Okay, I'm truly sorry for calling you a grandma." She reaches her arms out, and he flinches and hides his head from pain. But what he doesn't expect is her hugging him. He opens his eyes to see her eyes closed, and tears running down them. "You have no idea how much you are right, my grandson." And all 3 of them just freaked out, but Naruto just stayed where he was, in the Hokage's arms, hoping she will give an explanation. After what seems to be hours, Tsunade releases Naruto after a bone-breaking hug. He limps onto a chair, and sits down. Man, that hurt. So let me get this straight, you were my grandma, and you never told me. His voice changed from weak to anger. Tenten walked towards him to comfort him, but he held a hand up to her. No, I want to hear her. Tsunade shook her head. Yes, it's true. I am your Abasan. I only found out a day before I had to send you away. You gotta understand, I never knew about Arashi having a child. She seems to be in tears. Naruto's anger quickly shifted from rage into sadness for having to have her bring up her son's death, his father. He goes to comfort her, but she holds a hand up. Don't. It's not your fault. I want to be alone with Jiraiya for now. With that, Naruto and Tenten leave, tears plopping onto the floor from his cheeks. Tsunade looked up at Jiraiya. Was it too soon? No. It's better he would hear it at 16 than 13. Besides, he isn't the type to condemn someone for a little mistake. Jiraiya plants his hand onto her shoulder, as her tears subside. She looks at the report of Naruto's growth, and stares at the pervy Sannin. About the seal, is it time? Yes. The seal seems to have been weakening during his training, and if something isn't done soon it will break and the Kyuubi will be free. There's no doubt about it. The Hokage seems to bringing in even fresher tears. So there's nothing we can do. I have to have him killed. Jiraiya holds his hands out, waving them vigorously. No number. There is a way. The seal will only break if he uses the chakra and experiences some truly emotional trauma, like the death of a friend. He has to be put under house arrest until we can get the preparations ready. The frog hermit's eyes turned into concern, and had a thoughtful look in them, one that wasn't perversion for once. The seal will break, but if it's the same as the one I taught Arashi, then the Kyuubi won't kill him, then. The Gondime looks at him. What do you mean? The seal used to seal the Kyuubi has an added feature: if it were ever to be broken, the demon won't be freed but instead it will try to fuse into Naruto's conscience. If he can fight him off, then he won't lose his insanity and life. And the fox will stay inside him. She seems a bit happy that there might be a chance to save him and the village, but she isn't too sure about it. She has lost too many people in her life, and this time she won't lose another. I leave it in your hands, Jiraiya. Please help him. That will be it for this video. If you want more, comment down below, like, subscribe. And see you guys later.